So we're going to go down there, record us hunting the Jersey Devil, and then when you find it, you want us to record for Spotify you dying to the Jersey Devil.
Like a fucking world star hip hop video. I want you to film me just punching this thing in the face.
You will die.
Welcome to the Conspiracy Kitchen.
What's going on, guys? The kitchen is open and the chefs are in. I'm Joe, and he's Josh.
Hi.
And the special on the menu today is Jersey Devil. I want to begin by describing the region which he resides, just to give you guys a visual if you've never been here or seen the Barrens. The Pine Barrens are a relatively massive area, taking up about 1.1 million acres, or about 20% of New Jersey's total landmass. It was the first national reserve in the country, and despite the name Barrens, a lot grows in its sandy and acidic soil. Most people who don't know New Jersey just think New Jersey's city or beach, but there really is a lot of different biomes in this area, in this state, and the Pine Barrens are one of them. Pitch pines are the most prevalent tree in the area, and they have large canopies, and these large canopies kind of contribute to the isolation you feel when you're in the Barrens. Oaks, blueberries, and cranberries all also grow in this area, and New Jersey is the third largest producer of cranberries in the country. Now, what's kind of fitting for this area is that these trees need heat, extreme heat, to reproduce. So the tree nuts need a large amount of heat contributed from either a fire, like a wildfire, or a controlled burn. So once these fires happen, the heat comes up, they're able to open up the nuts, and then the seeds come out, and they're able to go into the soil and produce new trees. It seems kind of suitable for an area that they believe the devil lives in.
Yeah, it's definitely fitting indeed. Let's get a little spooky with it. Let's get into our childhood hero, so to speak, the Jersey Devil.
That's all we heard when we were a kid. Stories of the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, that's all we heard. And go into a little history on that. So the story goes basically, back in 1735, there was a woman known as Mother Leeds. She had 12 children, and her husband, Daniel, was a Quaker who spent most of his time out of the house. He was hunting and gathering food for the family, things like that. This angered Mother Leeds because she felt that she was handling the family alone. She was exhausted all the time, and especially now with news of her 13th child on the way, she was even more exhausted. So one night, she's praying, and she says to the Lord, "Let this one be a devil." And she had no idea that she would get her wish, because finally when the baby came, it's a beautiful little boy, blonde hair, blue eyes, cute little kid, quickly turned into a beast, grew wings, goat head, goat hooves, 8 to 10 feet tall.
Big horns, too.
Big old horns. And as the story goes, slit his mother's throat, went into the next room where the midwives were, killed all of them. I believe killed all the other kids.
Yeah, it's what I understand, too, is he killed the other kids and then killed the father.
Killed the father, and then just with a whoosh flew out the chimney into the pines, where the story goes that's where he resides and spends all of his time.
For almost 300 years now.
300 years. Yeah, back in the 1700s.
Yeah, 1735. Yeah, now we're at the 290-year mark. Is there going to be a 300th anniversary?
There really should be.
In 2035, we should have a little 300th anniversary.
It's not a bad idea. I'd be down.
So let me get this straight. The father was out working his ass off to feed these kids, and she just said, "Fuck it. I don't like him anymore. He sucks."
She had the hard life, apparently, just being at home with the kids.
1735, I don't want to, sound, like a dick or anything, but I thought he would have the hard life in those woods. Who knows what was out there?
Well, I mean, the Pine Barrens back then, especially in New Jersey, was notorious for having like bandits and a lot of crime happening like away from the towns. So he was probably dodging that, bears, cold weather, depending on the season.
That's why all those little towns in the Pine Barrens are like on top of each other, right? Because they were like safety in numbers, and then once you left that area, I mean,
Oh, you're fucked.
you're fucked.
Now you got
And
a flying demon
yeah,
you got to look out for.
and this house was located in Leeds Point in Galloway Township. Obviously, the area's still there. There's Leeds Point Cemetery, and the other thing is that there's a new house built on the property, and that woman gets harassed quite an awful lot to this day.
Yeah, she gets a lot of college kids. From what I've heard, a lot of college kids coming to like do seances and just be in her way and
Yeah,
just take pictures of her home while she's just trying to live a quiet life.
yeah. And they threatened to burn her house down. On top of it,
Yeah, if like she refuses to let them in, she's gotten like death threats.
it almost seems like they're worse than the Jersey Devil himself.
Yeah, I mean, he's just flying around minding his own business for the most part.
Now, it's my understanding that Napoleon's brother saw the Jersey Devil.
Joseph Bonaparte, yeah, he was living in Philadelphia at the time because he was getting his house built in Mount Holly of all places. The story goes with that, he was out hunting, like just minding his own business, and then had a run-in with the Jersey Devil. He just kind of appeared in front of him, towering 8 to 10 feet tall. That's what I always read, 8 to 10 feet. And he did what anyone with a gun would do. He just started taking shots at him.
Yeah, I mean, I would too. At 10 foot tall and the thing's towering over you and you don't know what the hell it is. I mean, I'd take a shot at it too.
I mean, especially if you're out hunting, you want to bring something big home.
Yeah, you bring that home. I mean, come on, jeez.
That's
a story for the ages. Put his head up on the wall. And later on after that, around 1909, the Navy was in the Hanover Millworks in the Pine Barrens testing new ordnances. Navy Commander Stephen Decatur said he saw the creature in the woods, and the rest under his command also saw this creature in the woods. They took a cannonball and shot the Jersey Devil right in the side. Apparently, it ripped right through his side. Many of the crew said they saw this happen, and it ran off into the woods, basically unfazed by the projectile. Now, after this incident, this was like the most active the Jersey Devil's ever been was in 1909. So there was like 1,000 reports or more of eyewitness claims throughout South Jersey and out in, some parts of Pennsylvania as well. You have a trolley car reported, packed with like 75 people, all saying they saw him, and they were interviewed separately and all made claims that were very similar. We also have Camden Police has written reports that they had officers take shots at the Jersey Devil. And I mean, Bristol Police also has written reports that they took shots at the Jersey Devil, and both reports have similar descriptions. Now, what's funny is, do you think those cops really want to write reports for gun discharge?
No.
No.
No one wants to be the cop who takes the shot and either misses or whatever they hit is just unfazed.
Yeah, and then they got to write this down in a report that they took shots. It was the Jersey Devil, and they no proof or no evidence to show for it.
They'd be fired immediately.
The thing already survived the cannonball in the Hanover Mills Works testing grounds, and now he's getting shot with guns.
I mean, it's like people wonder why he stays away for the most part. He just wants to be friends. We keep shooting him.
Yeah, he just keeps shooting them. But yeah, this thing is 8 to 10 feet tall in all the descriptions. He always has, some descriptions vary about his head. Some of them say he has like a goat head, a horse head, a dog head. But they all have elongated snouts, right? The tail kind of changes a little bit, but maybe it's hard to see the tail when it's moving. Some say it has like a serpent tail or whatnot. But in 1909, with all these things going on, just coincidentally after, a Navy commander shoots it with a cannonball, the Camden Zoo put out a reward for $10,000 if they were to catch it. They were going to build its own, what do you call those things?
Like an enclosure?
Like an enclosure for him to stay in, and they were going to give whoever caught it $10,000. Schools were shut down. Jobs were shut down throughout the time in the 1909. with so many sightings. It just seems not very coincidental that it's right after he gets shot with a cannonball.
It pissed him off a little bit. I mean, he was just minding his own business. He hit him with a fucking cannonball. Leave him alone.
Just leave him the fuck alone. But, I mean, he hasn't seemed to have hurt any humans at this point besides the family at the time. I mean, there was tons of, livestock being slaughtered in the area, which they blamed on the Jersey Devil. Not that there was, a lot of proof besides footprints and the way they were killed. We fast forward a little bit. We have in Salem, New Jersey, there was a cab driver who apparently saw him. He was changing a tire. He turns around, he looks over in the tree line, and he sees again 8-9 foot tall, big bat wings, makes an ungodly screeching noise. The man then runs as fast as he can, dives into the cab. The creature lands on the roof and starts pounding and ripping at the cab roof. So he takes off and gets the hell out of there. The thing apparently leaves the roof and flies off into the woods.
What year was that? That was
1927.
27. God damn. Yeah, I mean, it's insane how far back this goes, and the description of the Jersey Devil never really changes. Huge wings, like goat hooves. You get a lot of stories coming out of the Pine Barrens, but then you hear a lot of similar stories in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Pennsylvania started seeing him as well. Like Bristol, Pennsylvania, when those cops actually said they shot at him.
I wish they reported that. I would have loved to read those reports.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then moving forward, I mean, 1960, the reward to catch him was up to $250,000.
Yeah, and the Philadelphia Zoo actually got in on the action, and they're like, if you catch him for us, we'll give you around $250,000.
Yeah, and they wanted an enclosure too, and keep him in and make him a spectacle, I guess. Wealthy merchants at the time, they wanted, they were going to give anyone $250,000, and it was if he was dead or alive. They didn't care if you killed it and brought it to him. They just they would give you $250,000 just to get rid of it.
Yeah, because at the time, they're like, this thing is a fucking menace, even though it's not bothering anybody, really.
It's causing mass hysteria, though.
That's true. I mean, like, what else did we have going on back then? We needed something.
It's true. I mean, another little, thing that people were trying to talk about with the Jersey Devil was that it was used to scare off tax collectors.
Yes, that's very true. It was, let me see, I do have this here. Ships would come in from Europe, and they would bring goods, tea, and all that shit. But if they didn't want to go to the normal ports where they would get taxed out the ass, they would go to places like Barnegat Bay or Tuckerton, and they would go there and load up everything onto carts, and then they would take everything the rest of the way on foot, and they would get away from these tax collectors because at the time they're hearing there's a flying monster in the woods. Yep. And they don't want to deal with that, so they're like, all right, fuck it, we'll stay far away from that.
We'll stay away from that area. The ships will come up and dock in the Delaware Bay or the Barnegat Bay and unload their goods in Pine Barren areas, and then they would just, by the cover of the Pine Barrens, truck these goods in and avoid the extra tax.
Yeah.
That was a big way to get around it too, I guess, but I mean, I still think there was some kind of truth behind it. I don't think it was just some kind of scam to avoid taxation, because going back before then, people were still seeing this thing. I think they just used it to their advantage to avoid the tax. And they helped spread the information about the Jersey Devil, just to get it out there, just to scare these people.
Yeah, I mean, Jersey Devil's the same as, same as UFOs, where it's seen throughout history, but there's still truth to it. I mean, I don't really know where I'm going with that point, but there's truth to it.
Like I said, every story has to have some kind of truth behind it to make the story take off.
That's the one, yes.
That's what I'm thinking. So anything, even like the UFO thing we talk about with the aliens, or the Jersey Devil, or anything else you could think of that we could touch on in different episodes. That's what our job is, I think, here at this podcast. That's what we wanted to make this podcast, is that we believe everything has some kind of secret ingredient behind the scenes that has made these stories come to life, and we want to find out what they are.
I mean, I've been reading up on this thing all day. The Smithsonian even weighed in on it, saying it could have been like an extinct marsupial carnivore or a pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
Like that. Yeah, they're saying it could have been living in like the caves nearby. I didn't even realize we had limestone caves in New Jersey, but yeah, they said it could have been living in there.
Down there in the Pine Barrens, limestone cave.
Apparently.
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, could have been living in there as a prehistoric, the last remaining of some kind of prehistoric animal that had been seen a couple times, and it's still being seen though.
It's still being seen, even to this day. They got sightings going. I think the latest sighting I read was like 2016. But
yeah, but there's still stories going on to these days. People going into those pine barrens and hearing these screeches, or hearing the trees rustle, or just seeing giant shadows, and it scares them. And I understand this area. I mean, once you're in the pine barrens, when you're off the road, it is very quiet.
Yes, that's a very good point. To those of you who aren't familiar with New Jersey, if you go into the Pine Barrens, there's certain locations that are like farther away from any town or anything like that. A lot of these spots are where most sightings occur. If you just stand there and listen, you will hear absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
It is dead silent.
Yeah, and like the reason behind it too is, one, these pine trees, they're green all year. So those pines, and they're thick, and they make these big canopies. On top of being so far away from everything, they also trap and block out sound waves. So they can't get into there. So when you're in these areas, you're out camping or whatever, building a bonfire. I mean, it does get pretty eerie at night. Because, I mean, the trees also block like moonlight. It's dark on top of it when you're there at night. So can a lot of these stories be embellished? Probably. But we want to find out why there's been so many sightings of it.
There's so much to go into it that, I mean, I don't even know. The Pine Barrens are creepy, man. It's a great place to like go for a drive. It's very scenic, very beautiful. You go camping, go missing. It's a great spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, people tend to stay away just because of this story. And we've been hearing this story ever since we were kids, because we both grew up here in New Jersey. And the story is always the same, you know, killed his family, flew out a chimney, and fucked off to the woods, and just decided to stay there instead of a perfectly good house.
Could have stayed in the house.
He cleaned it out. He killed the whole family. He would have been fine.
Could have stayed in the house, but he wanted to live in the woods.
Yeah, like a
We need to scavenge for food. All right. So speaking of food, Chief Ranger Alan McFarland saw something that kind of grossed him out and stumped him all at the same time. And this guy is a ranger, so he knows his wildlife. He knows wild animals. He knows them well. He saw a pack of pigs that were just slaughtered. And the way they were slaughtered completely baffled him in ways he just didn't understand what it could have been. All of them were killed the same way. The back of their head was eaten out, and then on their bodies were scraped and torn. Like it was holding on to them with sharp talons that a lot of people talk about, holding it from behind, and it ate through the back of its head. However, no tracks around the bodies, and there was no blood sprayed around anywhere else but on the bodies. So could the Jersey Devil have swooped down and landed on these things in the middle of the night and just kind of massacred them?
Sounds like it lifted them up off the ground if there's no tracks.
Yeah, carried them. And this is, I mean, again, this is a ranger, a forest ranger. He knows a lot about wild animals, and he had no idea what could have possibly killed these pack of pigs.
Because we don't really have that many wolves in New Jersey or anything like that.
No, we don't have, we have bear, but is a bear just going to eat the back of the pig's head out?
No, that's not its style.
No, bears are, I mean, they'll attack you, but bears are more like opportunistic eaters. They kind of go after stuff that's like kind of dead already, and they eat it. So, I mean, to just eat the back of the head and like leave the whole body laying there and just kill all of them like that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
To be honest, it just doesn't
I mean, to be fair, a wolf wouldn't do that either.
Yeah, and a
So,
wolf wouldn't really do that either, and we don't really have wolves. I mean, we have coyotes and fox, and for them, I mean, they're smaller than pigs. I don't know even know if they wouldn't even attempt to go after a pig.
hell no.
So the only thing that would left that would try to kill pigs, I guess, down there would be bear.
Yeah, so that means there was definitely something bigger that flew, left no prints anywhere,
None.
and lifted these up and ate them.
Yep.
Which it fits his mo. All of these stories, you hear him flying overhead. He's never really just walking around.
Yeah, he likes to fly. And we also have what, bobcats? They're not going to do that either. They're not big enough.
I mean, there's another story. Another story from 1964, I believe. This woman, Mary Sybil, she was with her friends. They were driving through the pines. They had the roof down, whatever the fuck, and they were just having a good time. And then they just heard the wings overhead. They turned the radio down to hear it a little better, and it just kept getting louder and louder. And this thing flew just over their heads, just missing them
In their convertible.
in their convertible. And
Yeah.
they fucking hightailed it out of there. Because they looked up and all they saw were these giant wings. That's all they saw.
And they were just driving through the pine barrens.
Just minding their own business.
Yeah, and this thing
Not
came
shooting anyone.
flying down, scraped across the top of their car, and just fucked off.
Yeah, just fucked off back into the woods.
Yeah, just seeing what was going on. Just seeing if there were pigs. It wasn't pigs, it was just a car, and he said fuck off. He just fucked off and went back in.
Yeah, he wanted pigs, not a Buick.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he kills a lot of humans. Livestock is his food of choice.
Livestock, I've heard he's killed a lot of crops. I've heard that too. But maybe that's just him getting back at Dad.
Yeah.
Just gather this motherfucker and then just kills all the crops.
Yeah. Another woman that saw the Jersey Devil while just driving through the woods in the Pine Barrens was Mary Ritzer. It was like 1972. She was driving on Green Tree Road in Glassboro. And she came around the corner and saw this, again, taller than the average man, creature standing there with big legs, goat-like head, horns, on his head, hoofs. And she said it was huge. And she just took the fuck off when she saw this thing. Didn't even stay around to freaking say hi to see what the fuck it was. And most people would. When you see something that big, 8-9 feet tall, big wings, horns, I ain't fucking standing around.
I mean, especially in New Jersey, nobody minds their own business, so they want to see what's going on.
But then they leave.
And they fuck off. They're like, oh, it's a goat man with wings. Goodbye.
And they take off. But I mean, a lot of people in New Jersey, we're also very busy people too. We don't have time for no shit.
That's actually true. I got to get to work. There's going to be fucking traffic. Oh, look, a goat with wings. I don't care.
I gotta keep moving.
Oh.
Gotta. But yeah, I mean, it all comes down people that don't even, think that they believed in it, have then seen it while driving around the Pine Barrens, and it's always the same type of description.
I love some of the description. They'll be out like hunting or camping, and then they just look in the distance and see like, oh look, it's like a goat or whatever, and then it fucking stands up on its hind legs, and they're like, that's not a fuck, and then they run.
And they get the fuck out. Yeah. There's another story. These people didn't see it. They came down from somewhere up north. They brought their dirt bikes. They had a camp set up in the Pine Barrens. And they were all riding their dirt bikes down the trail. And they got to about 100 yards from their camp, and all their bikes shut down simultaneously. I mean, does this thing have supernatural powers? This is the first time you heard something about it being able to affect something, I guess, telepathically. But they all said their bikes shut down all at the same time. And then when they shut down, they all heard the same ear-piercing, inhuman screech coming from the woods. So they all fucking hightailed it out of there, got back to camp. The guys at the camp came out and were like, did you hear that screeching? They agreed, they heard it, and they got the fuck out of there. They later on visited a local bar, and were talking to the bartender and brought it up, and the bartender said he's heard that noise before. you had most likely encountered the Jersey Devil. Now, could this have been the bartenders trying to scare these fucking tourists away? Or did this guy also hear these things and believe that it was the Jersey Devil?
Yeah, that's honestly the first I'm hearing that it could fuck with electronics.
Yeah, I never heard that before. So this seems to be the first and only story I really see about it shutting down something. None of the cars have shut off. That's more of a devil's tree, legend is the shutting down vehicles, not the Jersey Devil himself. So I don't know. That one, it's kind of weird. I mean, they said their bike shut down. So the one guy said it might have been the nearby power plant. I don't know what the fuck that means.
The fuck does that mean?
Shut the bike down. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that means. He said, "Oh, maybe the nearby power plant made our bike shut down." I don't know, dude.
I drove by a Wendy's and my radio's acting funny. Shut up.
I mean, yeah, there's Oyster Creek nuclear power plant down there. I've been to it several times for work. It never shut my service truck off going near it. So,
yeah, that's what the fuck. I know. Yeah, that's another thing I hear is the loud screech or like the yelling sound that goes with the sightings, or like we didn't see them, but we heard the loud yell.
yes.
Which people have said it could be a number of things, foxes being one of them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could be fox. I've heard fox screeching before. I can give you a quick sound of a fox screeching if you guys would like to hear it, and you can make your own opinion. This would be a fox screech. I don't personally. It sounds different. I've heard a screech in the woods once when I was a child. This fox screech doesn't kind of sound like it, but I'll let you guys hear it. So that's the fox screech. Take it as you want. If you think it's could be, could not be.
I would
personally,
shit. I would shit a little.
Even with that, yes, that fox screech. If you heard it at night by yourself, you might still shit your pants. I understand that, but when I was a kid once in the woods, I heard some kind of screech. It kind of sounded different than that. We left. It could. I mean, it could have been. Who knows? I was a kid. It could have changed at that time. It didn't quite sound like that, but I guess foxes also could sound different too. Different foxes, different sounds.
Yeah, from what I understand, they usually yip, make like weird yipping sounds. But...
Yes. So up the street from my house now, they have there's like a den down there, and that I guess it's like talking to its cub, or its what do you call them? Pups, I guess. It's like more of a yip 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 yip, and you can actually do the noise back, and it'll answer you. But that screech, they call it the vixen screech. They don't actually know why they do it.
I mean, I could explain the noise, but like visual aspect.
The visual doesn't make any sense. Yeah, foxes are small.
And
a red fox is not very big. It's the size of a large cat.
But like, what animal could they be mixing the fucking Jersey Devil with? I mean, didn't one say it was a fruit bat?
Yeah, one of the like zoologists said that a lot of people might be mixing up the Jersey Devil with fruit bat sightings. Now, a fruit bat, again, makes no sense to me because a fruit bat is between 3 and 6 inches tall. So, I don't know how someone could say it. It was a fruit. I don't know how someone could see a fruit bat and then tell someone that they saw an 8-foot tall, creature in the woods if they only saw a 3 or 6 inch fucking fruit bat.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard, what is it, the horned owl?
The great horned owl. Yeah, I mean, so that thing has like a 5-foot wingspan, but has feathers on it. It doesn't have a long head. It doesn't have a tail.
Only thing I could think of would be, let's see, the large flying fox, measured at 3 to 5 feet tall, wingspans about 5 feet wide, and only found in east of Madagascar. Never mind, that's not it.
So that's ruled out. All right, there goes that.
So
maybe it's a combination of the fox, fruit bat, and the great horned owl.
That'd be pretty sweet.
They've merged into one disgusting creature that was probably created out on Plum Island.
Oh, yeah, Plum Island. Let's get into that a little.
Yeah, so Plum Island was a military base up until 1964, I believe. So that it's kind of hard to put the Jersey Devil as a product of Plum Island due to that wasn't fucking around in the 1800s when a lot of people were seeing it. But yeah, it was established in 1954 by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. But before that, it was a military base. It served in World War II coastal defenses. Now, they do a lot of they say animal research when it comes to certain diseases being transferred, and they say that all their stuff is public. However, they do not let you bring any type of recording equipment on the island, and the press is not allowed to visit the island.
How convenient.
But everything's public, they say. So, how the fuck do you look at the stuff if you're not allowed to even go there? Or bring any type of recording equipment?
Yeah, we have nothing to hide, but the door stays closed.
But, I mean, if it was something from Plum Island, it doesn't explain any of the occurrences before it became an animal testing center in 1954.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that where the Montauk monster came from?
Yeah, that's what they were talking. That weird monster that washed up on the shores in Montauk. Yeah, they denied it. Plum Island denies it.
Of course they do.
But yeah, I think that was in 2008 or something. That weird dog thing washed up on the shore, and people took pictures of it, and they didn't know what it was.
They were saying it was like a raccoon, but the fucking proportions were completely off.
Yeah. So they believed it was something to do with testing on Plum Island. Plum Island says, no, we don't do that. We just study things like if livestock can get foot and mouth disease and African swine fever. We don't look at we don't do any genetic changes, which I think is bullshit.
And that, if I remember correctly, is the lab that the one from Stranger Things is based off of, Montauk Labs.
Yes, so, yes, sir.
A lot of eerie shit.
But as far as more sightings go, there is more. There's 93 forest ranger, another forest ranger. You know, they usually know their animals, so it's hard to refute what these guys say. He was driving along Mullica River when he saw a strange creature blocking the road in front of him. Again, it was about 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall, horns, matted fur, big wings, hoofs for feet. He said he stared at it for several minutes, and then the creature turned and flew into the forest. He doesn't know what it was, and he's never seen anything like it. Again, another forest ranger who knows, they usually know a lot about wildlife. They're always in those forests. What did he see? It had to have been something different. They know their animals in the area.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of groups, not just like sightseers, but hunting groups that still go out to the pines looking for the Jersey Devil. And they do it regular basis style. Like they'll go out once a week. And they've yet to find him, but they frequent that mill where he got shot with the cannonball because it was said that he's there a lot. But yeah, I mean, sightings continue after almost 300 years.
Yes. 100%. And another woman was in Galloway. She's the owner of the Smithville Inn and Village. She went to take the trash out, went into this fenced-in area where they had the dumpster, and she turned and saw this shadow on the wall. Again, she thought it was about 7-8 feet tall. Big wings, shadowed on the wall. She then took off running, but she said she felt a weird calmness to her when the devil was standing over her, which is odd to me. It's like the one that usually people get scared. She said she felt calm.
Very calm right until the shit ran down her leg, and then she hightailed it out of there.
She said she ran out, but she felt calm. That's, to me, she's a psychopath.
Very much, yes. Feel calm. Maybe that's her kink, giant goat men with wings.
It could have been.
Well,
another sighting in Bayville. on Route 9. 3 cars were all forced to stop and slam on their brakes. All 3 witnesses claimed to see in different cars, not related, don't know each other, a 10-foot tall, Jersey Devil-like figure, long head, horns, hoofs run across the street. It emerged from the wooded area near a mini-mart on the northbound side and shot across the traffic and headed into the woods on the southbound side. So there's another sighting that was in Bayville. Won't really give us a year. More recent, though.
It just
2000s.
sounds like he's not violent, but he just likes to fuck with people and traffic.
He likes to fuck with traffic. He's like a deer during fucking October and November. Maybe someone will actually end up hitting him.
That would be interesting. You see this giant goat thing on the side of the road, and everyone's like, "The fuck is that? What did you hit?" Bumper's gone.
You're probably fucking totaled, dude. That thing. But then you have it. And then you could try to see if you can get that $250,000 reward. But I'd try to make it $2.5 million now.
I mean, yeah, they'd come up with some stipulation. You didn't hunt him the correct way. You caught him accidentally.
Yeah.
Some bullshit.
But even if he did get that $2.5 million reward, that Uncle Biden would have his hand out for that tax.
Yeah. There you go. You caught my goat.
And then there's a more recent sighting in October of 2015, and this guy actually caught a picture on his cell phone. David Black was driving along Route 9 near a golf course in Galloway when he thought he saw a llama walking through the trees on the side of the road. The creature then turned and spread its wings and flew up in front of the car. He was able to catch a picture with his cell phone. This picture I could put on our X page. You guys can be the judge of what you think this creature is. It's a little blurry. It doesn't...
It's a little blurry, yeah.
Looks kind of odd, but we can decide for ourselves on that one. So again, same thing. 8 to 10 feet tall, wings, hooves, horns, seen by people who are not from around here, locals, and rangers who do know their wildlife on top of it all.
Yeah, I mean, very reputable people have said that they've seen the Jersey Devil. I mean, Napoleon's brother. I mean, he was already famous. What did he have to gain from saying he saw the Jersey Devil?
Yeah, like what the fuck why would he need to make that up? That doesn't make any sense to me for him to make that up. He saw something. Had to have seen something.
At the risk of sounding completely batshit insane.
Yeah.
He still was like, no, I fucking saw this thing in the woods, dude.
So, yeah, something has to be out there. We do have an interview we can play of a woman who saw the Jersey Devil. It's, they actually had photos of the prints on her roof after, so we can play that for you and discuss.
So quickly, it was horrible.
Lori Winkleman lives with her husband Glenn and their 3 children near the Wharton State Park in the Pine Barrens. She describes a frightening nocturnal sighting that still haunts them.
There is always this discernible eeriness out here. There's just something in the air. Well, that night had been a big storm, the first significant one.
Lori and her children were outside enjoying a recent snowfall and were headed inside for supper.
I realized that I had left Christmas lights on because it's kind of dark and creepy out here at night.
Lori had her 11-year-old son, Glenn Jr., accompany her outside to turn off the light.
I was standing at a utility pole that just had a big electric outlet, and I bent over.
I'll stop right there. First of all, a utility pole with a big outlet. To me, that means I feel like she was stealing electricity. But that's neither here nor there. We'll continue with the interview.
Well, hold on. She, not only that, the fact she's stealing cable while fucking... but she said it was eerie and creepy out there, so she brought her 11-year-old child with her, basically as her protection. What the fuck is he gonna do? Be your human shield?
Protection or bait?
Good parenting.
Good parent. All right, but let's. I guess we'll continue.
Pulled this plug out. Simultaneously, I looked at my son who was standing right in front of me, and his face was just terrified, and he was like making garbled noises, pointing up.
Lori saw a giant black creature perched high in the tree above their heads. Their terror turned to panic when the beast swooped down.
And just knew I had to get my son in the house. He was absolutely frozen. He just couldn't even move. I felt like prey. And I just charged forward. There was just this black, sensation of like a whoosh overhead of us, on top of us. And in a split second, I heard it on the roof. And all of a sudden I knew this thing was exactly in the direction that we were running. And the second that we got to the doorstep, you could hear it coming down the roof, making these really click-clack, weird, metallic-y, bony noises. And we just got in the door, slammed the door, and then just started screaming and freaking out in the kitchen.
The Winkleman family spent a sleepless night and awoke in the morning to discover that their attacker left a clue.
The next morning, I was awoken then with my husband saying, oh my gosh, you won't believe this, but I went out and there are footprints, tracks exactly on the roof where you said. He took pictures of the tracks and they were still pristine. It was early in the morning on that side of the snow. It was like so great. They were perfectly preserved. The snow was still deep.
Laurie Winkleman's husband, Glenn Sr., immediately showed the photograph to a friend and expert hunter to see if he could identify what the animal was.
Brought it in, showed it to him, not a clue. I have no idea what it was.
With their anxiety rising, the Winklemans brought the photos to a local office of the New Jersey Division of Parks and Recreation, but regional wildlife experts could not identify the tracks.
They were kind of frightened for us because the footprints were 9 inches by 5 inches and 4 feet apart and 2-legged. So he didn't know what it could be at all.
I reluctantly called the police. They did a perimeter search. He saw the tracks on the roof. He said he would estimate the size to be about, like, I believe it was 200 to 400 pounds of whatever it was. And he said about the size of a large bear. He then asked me if I had guns, and where I'm from, people don't have guns in the house. And I said no. And he just said, maybe you should get some.
Now, I don't know what the fuck she's talking about, but a lot of people have guns here.
I have a gun 2 feet away from where I'm sitting.
Yeah, we have guns. But besides that, wildlife didn't know what this thing was based on the footprints. Expert hunters, again, said they didn't understand what the thing was based on the footprints. And cops said it could have been about 200 to 400 pounds based on the footprints' width and how far each stride was.
Awfully heavy to have on the roof, but it just sounds like he was hunting her for stealing electricity.
I think that's what the problem was. I don't think the Jersey Devil, I think he's misunderstood in a way. And he saw her stealing electricity from this utility pole outside, because who the fuck plugs their shit into a utility pole, a big plug on a utility pole? You're bypassing the meter in your house, right?
It's highly illegal.
So that seems illegal to me, and the Jersey Devil was trying to teach her a lesson.
Yeah, I mean, what did she benefit from telling that part of the story? I was just stealing cable, and this big winged creature just flew down. Like, no,
but there's something was definitely there, right? Kids saw it, she saw it. She talks about clicking and stuff, which, I mean, people try to write off as the owl, but can the owl make that big of prints on the roof? The cops said that they probably was about 200 to 400 pounds, so those owls are not anywhere near that. The great horned owl's 30 pounds, maybe. So something's definitely going on down in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey.
I say, and this could be interesting for a follow-up episode. I say we go on a camping trip. We go down to the creepiest parts of the pines, and we see it for ourselves.
We go down there and we actually try to hunt it.
I want to box the Jersey Devil.
You're going to box the Jersey Devil in its own territory.
I'm going to walk right into his house and kick him in the shins.
I don't think that's such a good idea.
Why?
And I'll tell you why. Because everyone seems to be afraid of it. It's apparently 200 to 400 pounds based off those cops' prediction. It has wings so it can just fly away from you. It's got sharp talons, and it mutilates pigs without a problem.
Alright. Well, I'm not a pig. I got a mean right hook. And I'm going to catch him right in the fucking snoot.
So we're going to go down there, record us hunting the Jersey Devil, and then when you find it, you want us to record for Spotify you dying to the Jersey Devil.
Like a fucking world star hip hop video. I want you to film me just punching this thing in the face.
You will die.
I won't die. I have ideas. I could hide in a tree and catch it unaware. Just wait for it to scurry by and I'll just hook it right below the eye, right in that little corner of his face.
See, the thing is, it's been living in these woods for 300 years almost. I think it knows the ins and outs of the whole place. There's nowhere for you to hide from this thing. You will die.
All right, then I'll just walk right up to it. I mean, I'm looking at the pictures of him here. The main one, the main drawing of it.
Oh, the one that's on the wanted posters?
Yeah, it's got very skinny legs.
Yes, the wanted poster pictures make it seem like it has little like pelican legs.
I'll just fucking sweep the leg.
There is no way you are killing this thing or hurting this thing. It will murder you. This is turning into the 10,000 rats.
Oh, here we fucking go.
This is turning into the 10,000 rats again. It's another one you cannot win.
Go ahead. You know what? Give a little backstory to that, and then we'll fucking get into this argument.
All right, so the 10,000 rats. This came from some, viral thing about what you'd want on your side, team-wise, 10,000 rats, eagles, lions, whatever. Everyone picked a 10,000 rats to be on their side. Josh did. Josh thinks he can take on 10,000 rats. Now, to me, that is impossible. The amount of rats he'd be facing at one time, in their jaws, they can bite down. They can bite through rebar. And this guy thinks he can freaking take 10,000 of them. I wouldn't even want to take 10.
Look, just because you're feeling weak, all right, I think I got good stomping power. I just go and start stomping them out.
There's no way.
Why?
Because it's 10,000 of them, dude. You'd have to kill one if you wanted to kill them in an hour, you'd have to kill 3 a second.
All right, an hour and a half. I don't know.
So you have to kill 1.5 a second, 2 a second. It's not possible. But anyway, besides that, I would rather fight the Jersey Devil than the 10,000 rats. They're worse, but still, I don't think you could take the Jersey Devil. I wouldn't want to fight the Jersey Devil. You shouldn't fight the Jersey Devil. But we can go hunt the Jersey Devil if you want. Try to get some kind of footage. Try to get a picture and see if we can get our reward.
We would have to bring your camera because mine takes very grainy pictures, so we would just get more of the same shit you see on the internet.
Well, your iPhone?
All right. Well, I wasn't going to say it, but all right.
We can bring the drone if it doesn't get EMP'd again like the last time I tried to fly my drone.
Didn't it just drop?
Yeah, I tried to send it up after the drone I saw above my house, and I had GPS faults, and it just kind of fell out of the sky.
Imagine if you were flying the drone in the Pine Barrens, a Jersey Devil lands and just hands it to you. It says, "Not here, motherfucker," and then just walks away. What would you do? How would you react?
He can speak English?
Well, he's been around 300 years. He's been in New Jersey, so it's like shitty English. But
if he came to me with the drone and said, "Not here," I would just ask him, please, just to let us get a selfie together. And then he could do whatever the fuck he wants after that. I'll just leave.
So you think he would stop for a selfie?
If he took the time to bring me my drone back and not to smash it, why not?
That's true. That's a good point. I would like a selfie. And then right as we're taking, I just hook him right across the nose.
You're not going to beat him in a fight.
I'm going to beat the shit out of the Jersey Devil.
There's no way that is going to happen.
Everyone join our GoFundMe and Kickstarter to watch me box the Jersey Devil.
Yeah. We'll start a GoFundMe for that. A GoFundMe for your funeral. That's fine.
It's going to be a good one.
But anyway, so next week we'll do one of 2 episodes. I think we're gonna do the first one, depending on if the person we want to have join us is free, would be the conspiracy behind Call of Duty's skill-based systems. That could be next week, or we can do a podcast on the disappearance of the Malaysia airline MH370, and if it did get teleported through a wormhole, or if it did crash. One of 2. What do you think we should do, Josh?
I definitely want to see our guest. That would be fun. But I do have some thoughts on the Malaysian flight. So that could be a lot of fun to get into. Because if it got taken by orbs in a wormhole, where did it end up?
Anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere.
We don't know that information yet, but yeah, I mean, it's a little something different. I don't see many people talk about it. I know Call of Duty or Activision has dismissed some of these systems that they have, but Steve's would be our guest, and he's pretty proficient in Call of Duty multiplayer. He's been playing it for 16 years, I guess you could say, multiplayer. He's done a lot of research with J God, and he knows a lot around it, so he could bring up, and we'd kind of interview him about those, or if not, if he's too busy for that, we'll get into the Malaysian airline.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got on the Jersey Devil for this week, to be honest.
Yeah. All right, well, until next week, we'll figure out what we're going to do, and then we'll get him on.
Perhaps there will be a third chef in the kitchen.
Maybe. If he doesn't, Steve out on us.
And Steve out and fall asleep after work again.
All right, guys. Until next week.